Speaker, for being called early and to be able to contribute, albeit briefly, in this debate. I'd like to start by agreeing with the Leader of the Opposition. I think he was right to call for a consensus in tackling climate change, and I also thought it was entirely appropriate that my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for the Environment, Rural Affairs and Agriculture, showed very clearly that the cross-party support for delivering the UK ambition and global leadership in this area, as well as pointing out how far the UK is delivering on this agenda. I think that we need to introduce some balance into this debate, and I'm pleased that they both did so. And I join others on both sides in suggesting that the efforts for London to host next year's climate change conference should proceed, and I very much hope that it does. I'm a member of the Environmental Audit Committee, and as such I have the opportunity to review both the Committee on Climate Change and activist claims and challenges, as well as holding the government to account in delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals and its climate change priorities. So I have been pleased to be able to support my honourable friend, the member for Cheltenham, in his 10-minute rule bill yesterday, which was very well supported by members on this side. And I think it is absolutely right that the House seeks to commit to net zero emissions by 2050. This in itself will require facing up to many significant challenges, some of which have already been mentioned, I'm sure others will, on land use, on transport, on energy sources, on energy efficiency, on joining up government policies, and on showing international leadership to share the burden across the globe. Taking this further and faster, as some have called for, clearly increases the challenge. And as a farmer, I join the Secretary of State in applauding the NFU for accepting a net zero emissions challenge for agriculture by 2040. This will require very significant changes to land use, as has been graphically highlighted by the Zero Carbon Britain report from the Centre for Alternative Technology. This shows diversifying land use is required across most of what we currently do today. We would need to double the land used for food for us human beings in this country. We would need to dramatically reduce the grassland for livestock. We would need to double the forested area to a quarter of the entire UK. In 1 second I will. We would also have to substantially increase the areas for biomass and renewable energy from the levels today. Very quickly.
I'm grateful to him for giving way. He's making a powerful speech. And on reforestation, did he share my enthusiasm for the Secretary of State's remarks today about planting 11 million trees across the country? Is this something that he agrees that we could fire up schools' imagination to do a lot more of, and maybe give them an award for the best primary schools locally to follow through on this agenda of reforestation?
I do think that that is well worth doing, and encouraging younger generations to recognise the power that trees have in capturing carbon. But frankly, an 11 million volume of trees goes nowhere near what would be required in order to make the kind of impact necessary to get to net zero. So it's a step in the right direction, but only a single step in my view. Brexit and leaving the Common Agricultural Policy provides the UK with a unique opportunity to take a lead, as my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, is doing through the Agriculture Bill, and in developing a new system of support to encourage such change in land use. And while this will not be easy, it is absolutely right that we have this opportunity, and we need to take full advantage of it. We've heard much of the problems and challenges in meeting these targets, but very few solutions offered as yet from contributions in this debate. So I'd just like to highlight two, if I may, to the House. Innovation and maturing technology will create opportunities and solutions, and will also drive down costs. As we've seen, solar costs have declined by 35% in the last 3 years alone. But a balance of technologies will be required, and there will be no simple single solution. There's been considerable focus, and some mention of it earlier from my honourable friend, on the switch to electric vehicles. But this will pose very significant generation challenges. One example provided to me recently suggests that one motorway service station replacing 20 petrol and diesel pumps with 120 electric superchargers, which would be required to fuel the same number of vehicles in an hour, would require a 14.5 megawatt electricity substation to recharge the same number of vehicles, which is equivalent to the electricity required for 32,000 homes. So this is unlikely to be the simple solution that some of us hope for. I'd like, therefore, to make a quick alternative plug for the hydrogen fuel cell generation, which can become cheaper than batteries, as is being pioneered by a small company, River Simple, started in my constituency. And it has one of the other benefits of reducing reliance on cobalt, which is required for batteries, and that in itself is a finite resource. The second solution I'd like to put forward is for changing attitudes in behaviour in an area of real UK global strength, and something that I've taken a particular interest in on the EAC. And that's the role for the UK in leadership of emerging green finance initiatives, set out in our committee report last year, embedding sustainability in financial decision-making. Climate risk reporting by companies and pension funds will make clear the financial implications of ignoring climate change, and is an opportunity for the UK to show global leadership.
Jeff Smith.